let's talk about celebrities and censorship, because we were just talking about it with Dylan Mulvaney, were we not? Dylan Mulvaney believes that you should censor people if they have views that you don't like. Well, a lot of celebrities actually fall in line with that because Hollywood celebrities deep down are very authoritarian, at least in my personal opinion. 200 plus celebrities, including Jamie Lee Curtis, Elliot Page, demand big tech censorship regarding disinformation regarding transgender youth. What I mean by that when I say that celebrities are authoritarian is they fall into the class of people who are they're the offshoot of the ivory tower elites who believe that they know what's best for you and that you're the one that needs to change because you haven't realized what is true and what is right, and that they're just holding out hope that you'll figure it out. They don't want to have to censor you, but they will if they could. Right?
These are pressure campaigns from GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign. Signatures include Jamie Lee Curtis, Amy Schumer, Camila Cabello, Cara Delevingne, Patrick Stewart, Alyssa Milano.
There's a $20 one right there from Mink Dink.
He said, happy early birthday, Brett. Hope that you have a great birthday and many more. Thank you for sharing your time and talents with us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah.
It will be on Sunday.
Who else? Shawn Mendes was on there. Judd Apatow.
Could Shawn Mendes go back to work already? It's time for this dude to start performing again. Like, I'm sick of hearing about his relationship stuff and about him going to he's going out on the town. Dude dropped like 50 concerts so that he could have a mental health break. Taylor Swift is adding concerts left and right. Maybe you need to be a little bit more like Taylor Swift and a little bit less like Shawn Mendes.
Some likely suspects on here: Billy Eichner, Billy Porter, Bella Ramsey.
Yep.
And I think what they want to do is, I think Disney long term.
Dylan Mulvaney's on the list.
Oh my gosh! I think long term they want to squash their competition.
Yep.
Is what it is.
It's what I've realized is that more than any type of push for some ideological ends, the number one way that they influence people, it's not by what they report, it's what they don't report, what doesn't make it to public eye. So by squashing the competition, by making it so only their opinions are the ones that are heard, you influence people far faster than you do by simply providing the best argument and letting the opposition speak freely, right? So they don't need to necessarily present a great argument as to why they believe what they believe. They just need to make sure that other people who are also influential aren't allowed to say what they believe.
So they're calling on Zuckerberg from Meta. They're calling on the CEO of YouTube, Elon Musk, and all of these big tech CEOs to meet with community leaders and creators to hear about real-world harms that result from anti-trans content on your platforms, and to create and share plans for how you will address content that spreads malicious lies and disinformation about medically necessary health care for transgender youth, accounts and postings that perpetuate anti-LGBTQ extremist hate, dehumanizing hateful attacks on prominent transgender public figures and influencers, Dylan Mulvaney included, anti-transgender hate speech, including targeted misgendering, dead naming, and hate-driven tropes. In my opinion, this is just a violation of our freedom of conscience that we can't dead name or misgender someone specifically, because honestly, it would possibly fall under people's religious convictions. And if we're not allowed to call this out for what it is, do we really have any freedom of conscience anymore?
No. And as they funnel people online, they have more control over it.
This it also says this call to action follows the release of GLAAD's third annual Social Media Safety Index, a report on LGBT user safety, privacy, and expression. The idea that you would need to protect yourself from, be safe on social media, it contradicts itself. Just close the laptop.
Yeah, and
turn off the phone.
It implies that
stop looking at the screen.
Yeah, the right that it almost implies that social media is the right, and then they want to censor you. So they want it both ways. They are acknowledging the importance of social media, but then they don't want anything close to free speech.
They concluded that all 5 major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, received low and failing scores on GLAAD's Social Media Safety Index platform scorecard. I pulled up their scores.
This is an unsolvable problem.
Instagram got 63%, Facebook got 61%, TikTok 57%, YouTube 54%, and Twitter 33 at the very bottom.
The Twitter one
no
does not
surprise there.
The Twitter one does not surprise me.
As Elon Musk has been speaking out saying, obviously we shouldn't be doing irreparable damage to young people who are just confused about their identity.
But he also shouldn't be calling cis a slur. Like he shouldn't be banning people to say that either. Just say
have people actually been getting banned for that, or was that just a joke the whole time?
No, it wasn't a joke, but no, I don't think anybody's being banned.
Just
I love Jordan Peterson's tweet, call me cis in real life and see what happens.
I love the idea.
He's just wild on Twitter.
I love the idea of Jordan Peterson just fisticuffs,
just clocking someone for calling him cisgender.
Fisticuffs Jordan Peterson. He stops to take off his really nice two-tone jacket.
He's like, someone hold my satin tie.
And then he hits him with the "put your dukes up." Put your dukes up, says Jordan. And then you know what he does? He hands the jacket to Michaela. To Michaela Peterson. She takes the jacket as she's
World star.
Yeah,
Seamus, you should do this for a Freedom's Tune.
Yeah, and then and he's like, let's fight. I'm so down for this.
Their recommendations are strengthening and enforcing existing policies. I say get rid of those policies altogether. Training moderators on the needs of LGBTQ users, and I can't believe they would use the language of needs. Like you're in a relationship and this is your boyfriend. Like you're not meeting my emotional needs.
Well,
Twitter.
that's the entitlement of all this. Us expecting the world to form around you and your needs.
This one I actually agree with, but in a different way. They said be transparent with regard to content moderation, terms of service policy implementation, algorithm, and enforcement reports. They're not I believe Twitter has not actually changed that much. People still get banned for stupid shit all the time. I still see it, and him appointing a female CEO was a big red flag for me, because I just don't believe any school marm that you put at the top of a big tech company is going to be a trustworthy individual. And also it said stop violating privacy and respect data privacy.
Yeah.
Platforms should reduce the amount of data they collect and retain. I also agree with that.
Unless the data that they want you to reveal is the data of hateful people, in which case they don't care about your privacy.
They also said promote civil discourse. The way they want us to promote civil discourse is by banning all discourse they consider not acceptable,
which is everything, because everything
where's
that
the
doesn't
discourse if there are only if there's not two sides to an issue. Where's the discourse if there's only one side that you're allowed to be on?
There is none.
Yep.
But yeah, this is just
but to me it's an example of
the ultimate long housing of social media. And I really mourn the loss of the way that social media felt even in 2016. It was a free-for-all, and even then the censorship was out of control. Imagine the potential of the internet and social media if we weren't censored. Yeah. Even just on this channel, there are so many things that we stay away from or that we censor ourselves on. And it's more of a psychological war for us to start censoring ourselves rather than relying on the policies to censor us.
I don't. I just hate the idea that anybody gets to decide how the world how the world actually works. When you're born and your parents raise you and you go out into the adult world, essentially in a lot of ways on your own. We've talked recently about how America's one of the few places where we just kick them out at 18. Get the hell out of here. Go figure it out for yourself, right? You learn from a young age, if you've been on your own, that the world can be a nasty place that isn't going to always be able to bend to your every whim. If anything, a mark of a strong person is someone who can take all of the crap that life throws at you and handle it with a little bit of grace and strength. And the idea that not only do they not want to even build up the muscles to do that, but actively allow the world to calcify around them in such a negative way that we're supposed to create some utopian fake world just for their benefit is unbelievably narcissistic.
I wanted to also read this part of a statement from the GLAAD president. It's about time social media CEOs hear from leaders on their platforms whose content and creativity drive profits and revenue for them. I agree. Imagine if, our content or the content that other dissident people put out weren't shadow banned or artificially pushed down in algorithms, and how much revenue they're leaving on the table by silencing these people. They could make so much more money by letting the discourse actually be free.
That requires agency.
And even
from all
on Twitter,
parties.
that's never going to happen. But again, Elon Musk isn't your father. He's not your boyfriend or your husband. He doesn't need to meet your emotional needs. He doesn't know you or care about you. And he doesn't have to. Like, the expectation is just wild to me. But yeah, like, can you guys imagine, like, how good it would feel to be on Twitter if it weren't such a cesspool? And if you were allowed to say what you really thought about these topics?
Like how much of it now?
Or if you were allowed to make the jokes that you want to make?
Yeah.
Like, how much human potential is actually being stifled in real time?
Humor,
it's incalculable.
Yeah.
Humor especially, because there's no distinction made anymore between humor and wrongthink and bad speech.
Yeah. And this is also created, it's done. That's why I think people call it neo-Marxism. It's designed to break us up into two. I think the echo chamber is the strong part about the algorithm that you're talking about, is that you're kind of boxed in with a group that thinks like you. And a lot of times when I talk to people who we disagree, politically or whatever, a lot of times we end up saying, okay, no beef, and then follow each other.
Yeah.
But it's like done to minimize the possibility of that.
And a lot of people, they naturally fall into those echo chambers, so they're not going to have those conversations with people that they actually disagree with when it would actually be beneficial for all parties involved to do so. I don't know.
I love that Hailey Bieber is also on the signatures list, but Justin isn't. And I'm just imagining her, like...
She's like, will you sign this? He's like, no.
She's on the petition, and she's like, babe, I need you to sign this. And he's like, no.
Was it Justin Bieber's dad that had that statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He's like if you're gay, like, thank a straight couple for
for your existence.
Yeah, like his dad.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
is that everyone's gay? Humanity is going to die out. So
because we know that when things like that are said now, it's not like he just woke up one day and said that. There was some type of inflection point that made it necessary to say it out loud, which means it comes from a place of arguing with another person online, a person who right now is wielding the power to silence you because you said something that makes them feel uncomfortable. So I don't know. I just and then of course, like, it's going to get worse in Hollywood because all the people signing these these letters, these open letters, are the ones that are going to be steadfast in making media that portrays the internet as a dangerous, evil place, that portrays everyone that doesn't fall in line with their beliefs as sarcastically, almost villainously evil, as in they're over the top and ridiculous, rather than just a human being that sees the world differently than them. And to their point, that comes from a world where everything in make-believe is supposed to be done over the top and ridiculous. There aren't a lot of layers to a lot of the people like that. Your average billionaire character in a movie is essentially a super villain now. They're not just a person who runs a business.
Even going after Batman for being, Bruce Wayne. We were talking about Ralphie May before. What do you think Ralphie May, if he were alive today, what would he be saying about our culture?
That's a damn good question. What would Ralphie May
You wouldn't be able to say it on YouTube what he...
No, we would not be able to say on YouTube right now what he said in that special, but it would be a breath of fresh air to have him on there. I would love to get his take on that, as well as stuff to do with, like, body positivity, given the fact, like, I think he'd lean into it, and I think he'd make jokes about it. Yeah. Because it's part of his humor, but it would have been great to see that. So
I also wanted to mention the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is on this petition. If you have the courage, go ahead and look into that horrifying rabbit hole about, like, who is Jamie Lee Curtis's child, trans child. This is an adult, by the way, who is clearly a fetishist, and I don't consider trans people to be a monolith, but they've been mistakenly all categorized as one thing. This is clearly an autogynephile who gets off on dressing up and cross-dressing as a woman. And there are a lot of young people, like actual children who identify as trans, that are getting lumped into the same category as grown-ass men with beards that are walking into women's restrooms to, like, be peeping toms. Like, it's very deceptive, but they're using them as the human shield for all of these petitions.
Yeah, when you
pressure
can't
campaigns.
When you can't complain, when you can't push back because you might be hurting someone, they get all the leverage. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.